Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be going over a game played between two of my students. And before I'd like to jump into the game, I would like just to make a PSA that I am looking for more students. So if you or somebody you know is looking for a Go teacher and you're within the rank range of roughly, I'll say maybe 12-ish Q to 1 Dan, 2 Dan, then please check the description for details on how to contact me to inquire for more information. And if you also want to take lessons to support me, that'd be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let's jump into the game. As I said, these are two of my students, and I paired them up because they're close in rank. And yeah, they played 30 minutes main time with, I believe, 30 seconds overtime. And the Comey is half point for white. Without further ado, let's jump in. Very standard opening. Double 4-4 against double 4-3. Black approaches and white kicks, which is fine. Yeah, again, you can always pincer. In the opening, I always like to say, as long as you stay on josekis, it's hard to call anything a big mistake. Once you start kind of freestyling, that's when you can get into some problems. But as long as you play josekis that you're going to be okay. Because games aren't really won in the opening. You're basically setting up for a middle game. So again, this is totally fine for both sides. White could have chose to approach. Black plays here. It is a minor thing, but again, if we look at the right side, it's symmetrical. It's the left side that's asymmetrical. So for example, if you play here, which black did, let's just imagine white approached and you backed off, and then white backed off as well. Let's imagine white did the same thing on the other side. Again, if you look just at the right side, it's the same. So what changes is what white's getting. And let me just ask you, which would you rather white have as black? Would you rather white have the bottom, or would you rather white have the top? And I think it's pretty clear that the bottom has much more potential for white. So because of that, black kind of preventing that by playing here is ever so slightly wrong direction, I think. Black needs to play this one to prevent white from being able to build the bottom on a large scale. Because again, the right side, it's symmetrical, so it's going to be the same for black regardless. And in general, when you get these 3-4 josekis that end with white jumping here, because another example is this joseki. I'm sure we're all familiar with this. Like this. Anytime you get this variation where white gets this jump like here, here or here, any sort of variation like that, it's going to make that side pretty uninteresting. Neither side really wants to play on that side because white's very solid, but white's very low. So it's hard, from black's perspective, it's hard to build up top because white's so solid in the upper left. But from white's perspective, it's hard to build because you're so low. So in general, again, things can change throughout the game, but that kind of makes the side uninteresting. Whereas obviously in this game, the lower left has a lot of potential. So yeah, so it's again, I know I just said in the opening, as long as you stick to standard moves, you'll be okay. So again, I don't think if black loses this game, I don't think this is the move to cause it, but it's just something to point out that I noticed. So yeah, so when white does approach, which makes sense, so black pincered. And again, I bet if white goes here, I bet black wouldn't pincer now. Because it's just not so interesting. So yeah, obviously white plays in the corner. Black blocks this way. Nowadays, you basically, I never like to say have to, but it's generally considered better to always block the side that you pincered, even though it looks like, oh, black's developing the right side, so obviously we would want to block on this side, right? And even if you play an old joseki like this is considered better for white. White gets sente, white gets the corner, and black's outside, while it looks elegant, has weaknesses, right? We have a double knight's move here. Even nowadays, you'll see this variation where white blocks, or comes down, I mean. And even if black covers like this, and this kind of thing, white actually leaves it at this point, and this stone here is going to affect the right side of the board. And I just noticed, let me turn on coordinates really quick. There we go. Yeah, at S3, it's going to help when white invades the right side. And again, there's cuts here that white can use later. So again, can you never block this side? No. But generally you want to play that side, because again, why would you block this side if you're saying, okay, I want the right side, if you could have just taken the right side to begin with? Right? You could have played here anyways. So black blocks this way. This makes sense. And then white jumps. Again, this is very standard. And here, this is a minor mistake. Again, this isn't... Right here is when the joseki ends. And so this move is not so good for black. Because you're pushing from behind. If you want to play locally, you would want to play this one. This is considered better shape. And a lot of players think, well, this is sente, white has to answer. While this move isn't sente, any other move white plays, you have a sente follow-up. So white could play here, right? White could play a sente move, and you can play at R7. This is what P7 is looking at. And in fact, it's the same move that the push is looking at too, right? If white goes elsewhere, I'm going to R7. So it's considered better because if white answers, which white can consider answering, now you're even with white. You're on the same line as white. Whereas when you just push, white is now ahead. And so you very rarely ever want to push from behind. So it's a very minor thing, but you don't want to push here. You don't want to push here. Yes. Black pushes though. And then black extends. And I'm very curious how black ended up at this spot. Maybe black was thinking, okay, I have one stone here, and I'll extend 3. But because black is so strong in the lower right, I would want to play something a little more direct, maybe this kind of move. Or nowadays, you'll see this kind of move, right? Where if we do just a very simple variation, now black is threatening to take, or build, I mean, the bottom side on a large scale, something like this. And nowadays, you kind of want to build things as large as possible. Even if you can't get all of it, that's kind of the general way of playing that you want to do. So again, you can see now black's mapping out more of the bottom. Whereas when black just plays this, it's actually kind of shrinking the bottom. It makes the bottom less interesting. Even white could play here next and threaten to play at K3 if black chose to go elsewhere. So white plays here. So this is an interesting idea, but it's the wrong time to play this. So if white wanted to play on the right side, it's perfectly normal to just play here. Because if white's worried about the kick, something like this, maybe white's worried about getting pincered, but the difference is now white gets the first move in the fight. So maybe white can jump like this, threatening to shoulder hit, so maybe black prevents it, and then we can maybe even pincer like this, threaten to connect under. So this would be a fight that favors white. If black has a move there already, though, maybe let's say black has a move here, then you wouldn't want to play here, or you would be less likely to, because now black gets the first move in the center. Black gets the first move in this fight because black has already pincered. So if there's already a stone here, that's when you want to consider playing a different move as opposed to the normal approach. Again, this move, attachment, this move. There's a lot of different choices. But in the game, when the right side's empty, it's okay to just approach normally here. But white goes here. And this move's okay, but generally you want to just iron pillar. Yeah, generally you want to just iron pillar. White really doesn't want to take the corner because it's going to be very cramped. Even if white can take the corner. And if white pulls back like this, now you're getting the corner at least a little bit. White can pincer, or clamp, I mean. And if you connect, then white pulls back, and then you can go elsewhere. Doing this one, though, white plays there, yes. Black extends, not great. You want to jump here. Better shape. It's better shape like this. But again, you can see the direction here, because black poked at R7, or sorry, pushed from behind, forcing white to play R7, the right side is not that valuable. So I'm not sure why black is trying to take the right side or build the right side. I'm not sure. White just plays 3-3. That's probably okay. And then, yes, again, the same thing. I don't know why black is playing here. It could be undercut at S14 or S10. So, yeah, I'm not sure why black chose to do that. If black had not pushed from behind, though, say I do this, something like this, then black can play this kind of move. And this move is threatening to cover, and if white plays up, then we can jump. And here you can see now black can build the right side. But once you make this exchange as black, this push at Q6, it makes the right side less interesting for black. So these little exchanges that you make should have a big effect on how you decide your direction and how to kind of continue the game. So yeah, so black trying to play on the right side doesn't really make much sense to me. Yeah, white gets C9. It's good. And then black plays there. Again, I really want to try to build things as big as possible. You only make these extensions, like I'll say standard extensions, 2 space, 3 space extensions from your stones. You only want to do that if there's a potential for an attack. But when black is solid on the upper right, there's no need to be cautious. Remember, when you have a moyo, you almost want your opponent to jump in, because that's how you can use it to attack. So yeah, you kind of want to build things as big as possible to almost tempt your opponent to jump in. Because again, the first person with a weak group gets pushed around. And that means you can make the decisions on how the game's going to develop. You play this one, again, you're already shrinking your potential moyo. So it means white probably won't have to invade, depending on how the game goes. But so far, black's the one making, again, I wouldn't call these game-ending mistakes, but these very small mistakes. So whereas white's only strange move was S16. So far, I really like how white's playing, but then this is when the tables turn. White plays here. And yeah, this move is not great. Because what is the point value for white here? Where can white make points with this move? Remember, black is very solid on the right side here, the lower right. So white's very weak. White's very weak here. So I don't like white playing here. I see two ways for white to play here. I would extend. Again, this move might look small, but it threatens to play k3. How does it threaten to play k3? Well, when you play here, this is threatening to connect under. Whenever you invade, you need to have... The best is 3+ ways to help your stones. That's the best. If you can have 2 ways to help your stones, that suffice. So here, white can jump out or connect under. So that's okay. But if you only have 1 way to help your stone, that's not so good. Because that means what happens if your opponent takes that? Then you're in trouble. And so if black, maybe jumps here, okay. Again, it might look like black's getting a scary amount of points here, but you can see white's the one playing territorially. I wouldn't be scared as white. This is white's way of playing. And conversely, when you jump here, black could actually extend in response. Because again, if you're just jumping out into the center, you're not making any points. And a move at f3, not that black will do this directly, but creates Aji in the corner now at the 3-3. So this move gives me a base while threatening things in the corner. White playing this move strengthens the corner while threatening to invade. So very often when you have these kind of 3 space apart stones on the 3rd line, it might feel small because you want to be able to extend 2 from a single stone, but getting this 1 space extension is actually quite a big move in a lot of cases. So yeah, this move, like if black just comes on top, I don't know where white's going with this. So instead, how I would play is, okay, I played here threatening to invade. My opponent ignored, so let me get my follow-up. And whether white continues taking points like this, white could do this, or because of how the board's developing, white could Hane here, Atari, and then cover. Black plays here, white covers, something like this. And this is basically Sente. Yeah, it's Sente. Because if black goes elsewhere, say something like this, white can play here. And this is quite big, or sorry, even just play this one. If you cut, then I'll squeeze. Obviously, this is huge for white. Black's not even alive now. If black covers, then we can play here, and then it'll be 3 liberties to 4 liberties. So this is Sente. So black needs to Hane. And now, what if I cap here? All of a sudden, white is very easily able to mitigate the size of the bottom with something like this. So again, making decisions based on how the board is developing is such an important skill to grasp. And again, it takes some time, but hopefully here you can kind of see how, okay, now the board's changed. I actually don't really want to play at k3. This is a much safer way to reduce the moyo while also actually making me some potential. Because again, when white just plays inside black, with this move, there's no point potential here for white. Black jumps, white jumps, black leans, white plays here. Again, this is a nice follow-up here. And it is quite annoying to deal with this. But here, again, the board has changed. So if you just block, white's going to Hane here. And now it's going to be hard to attack white efficiently. Because you have to worry about getting cut off, losing this stone. But you don't want to play any move like this because it strengthens white in the center. So it's tricky. It's tricky. So, okay, white has played inside my territory. So now I will play here. And if white turns, even if you just block, in some cases you can keep the attack going with this, but this might be a little risky. Because again, you got to make sure you can kill this. Otherwise, the reason why you got to make sure you can kill this is because now you're losing the points on the bottom, and you have a lot of weaknesses on the outside, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4 knights moves. This lower black wall that was strong now has no eyes, so you got to be careful. So my instinct tells me this won't be easy for black to handle. So instead, just maybe block like this, and then this forces white to cut, but again, you just cover here, and now, again, these 2 white stones here look kind of weird, right? They look weird in terms of black's capturing a lot with those 2 stones. So, yeah. So black had the right idea. Difference is the shape won't be as good, or maybe it'll be about the same as what I just showed. Yeah, maybe it's okay. But yeah, I think black should just... If white turns down, black can just give up. But white connects, which allows black to cover. So, again, this exchange, not so good for white now, because now white is even heavy on the bottom. White goes here. And black had the right idea, maybe, but the wrong execution. Again, what we were talking about. When you have this 3-space extension and the stone in the middle, you can attach under to connect. Black goes here, but this actually does not fix that weakness. White can still just connect under. If you hane this way, white cuts, and if you capture, white's just okay here. You might think, oh, well, now I can cut, but white definitely has more liberties than you do, even though you have an eye. If you hane the other way, white can wedge here. And simply put, anything you do here to try to keep white separated will not go well. So black needs to do something to prevent that. Black was probably looking at this knight's move here and was worried about that. So that's why they went here. But yeah, you need to fix this connection problem. So I would play like this bump here. If white stands up, then I would... Again, I don't want to fix by playing here. This is kind of a weird way to fix. I would fix by playing this kind of move. Because there is a knight's move, so black had the right idea, but... yeah, and notice playing g3 prevents the attachment underneath. And so we get there. But the difference is white forced black to play all these center moves, and I'm not sure why. Also, this can just be here. Yeah. This can just be here. There's no need to do this knight's move, although I will say it is nice to have the knight's move into large knight, so maybe that's what black was thinking, but in this case, I think just jumping is slightly better anyways. But jump, and then white turns. Black separates, and then white connects under. And yeah, here, black should leave this. Because white's already connected. And if white wants to spend another move, so let's say black does something like this. If white wants to spend another move to get rid of all the Aji, then I get 2 moves elsewhere. But the reason why you want to leave this is this is all co-threats. Because white is completely sealed in. So any move that threatens to cut white off are co-threats. When black does this immediately, you have to look at the point value. Like, how much has black gotten for playing this? Not so much. Not so much. And remember, black could have done this anytime, and you really need to think about co-threat preservation, believe it or not. It's a big deal in the game of Go. So you gotta think about that. Black cuts, yep. So, but all of a sudden, like, black stones are now working together to build this giant center. And white cuts. So white does something out of order. So white makes the ladder first and then plays the ladder breaker. But this makes things obvious, right? And what do I mean by that? It means, okay, what is white trying to do? Well, this is obviously a ladder breaker. But imagine you do this first. Now it's on your opponent to have to see that white is going to play a ladder. So white should start with the ladder breaker first. Because let's say black plays in a way to prevent the ladder, maybe something like this, then white wouldn't be playing the ladder because it doesn't work. So really, you only want to play the ladder if you know you can kind of play it. Again, sometimes you can play the ladder first, but you'll see like black can fix by just taking. And again, look at this strength in the center. Even if black sees the ladder and white and fixes it by like fixing the knight's move, well, black doesn't get as much strength compared to getting this almost Ponuki. So yeah, black center is so thick. It's so thick. But white at least does get to follow up the ladder. But yeah, again, it really depends on what white wants. Like, if white wants to actually attack the left side, then maybe it's fine to play this. And now get the second move on the upper left. So maybe if white really wanted to attack the upper left, you could do this. But again, the center is what's important right now. So again, I would do this variation like this. Cover. Here we go. Like this. Black needs to answer. And now we have a ton of thickness. Even now we can play here or even just play some like cap like this. I think that's all reasonable. Yeah, I didn't like how white started the ladder and then played the ladder breaker. But it might be okay because white can at least attack this group, but I just don't like how like white made black so much stronger in the center. Like white has to be sure that if black just plays a move like, I don't know, what if black just plays a move like this and says, okay, is my center not big enough? But that center's looking pretty big. Center's looking pretty big. Black jumps. White attaches. That's okay idea, but again, I think the center is what's important. So I would just jump like this as white. Again, force black to connect. Okay, black, now that you're connecting, I'm reducing your center. White goes here. So white's trying to go for the direct attack. Which had potential if white had Atari'd here. Because black has to extend, and then white can even extend again, because even black connects, or Atari's. You don't want to cut here, because again, you might feel like you're getting a lot, but so is black. Instead, you can just push through. And even if black cuts, you can now connect. And yeah, by saving the stone at h16, these two stones are in a lot more danger. So white could have played that way. Instead, white plays here. And so the problem with this move is white is saving this cutting stone, right? We have this crosscut here. So this stone really only has value if the crosscut stays alive. But as we'll see what happens in the game, white gives up these 3 stones. And so all of a sudden, what are these 3 stones for white doing? Because they were cutting stones, but now they're just 3 stones smacked right up against black. White goes there. Yeah, I'm not sure why white chose this spot. Obviously, black can still cut like this. Yeah, I'm not sure. Because if you Hane, now black can even, maybe not directly cut here, but even if you just cut like this now starts to threaten to cut. White might think, oh, but I can peep here. That might be true, but the center is bigger now. So even if you can take the 2 stones, again, if we just do something like this, you can see the center is getting very large. So black jumps. This is also another way black can play, because now black's threatening to capture the whole thing. So white peeps, and then jumps. Black jumps. And then white goes here. Yeah, this is very risky for white. I would be like, okay, I have now reduced your center. I will just connect. Descending here threatens to connect at B15 or B11. And now it's hard for black to seal in the center, because now black somehow needs to seal from like L15 to J11, which of course is next to impossible. White goes here. Okay, you can probably play that move once, but you can see white keeps coming in. White keeps coming in. Black jumps here. This is okay. It's weird to allow a move that kind of lets you get in anyways as white. Like, I'm not sure why black doesn't choose this one, because it's better shape when you're trying to build the top. Yeah. Black goes there, though. White goes here. White's looking to Hane here. Black jumps. So white Hanes. Block. Cover. Connect. And all of a sudden, black is cut off here. So again, I'm not sure what white's thinking is here, but if white just connects up with this kind of move, now black is... Oh, sorry, white pushed first, of course. Which is probably Sente, so black covers. Yeah, so I'm not sure why white doesn't just connect with this kind of move. Or even... You gotta be careful, because this won't always be Sente, because black might choose to do this one. But assuming black does go here, like now, black has to worry about living here. And or it's going to be a big semi-eye, which obviously, who knows who's going to win this. It's very complicated. But this is the way I would think of playing. Like, what's the point of cutting this, right? Why cut here if you weren't going to continue? But then white does something so strange. So strange. If you can guess white's next move, that's probably not a good sign. White plays here. And I'm just not sure what this move is doing. Earlier, when I was mentioning when you're invading, you want to have... The best is if you can have 3 or more ways to connect, live, make 2 eyes, capture, that kind of thing. So if you can have 3 or more, that's like, okay, you can invade. 2 is okay, because if my opponent takes 1, I can take the other. 1 is not so good, because it means when I invade, my opponent can take my only way of living. But 0 is even worse, because it means black can just ignore you. So black ignores white, and then cuts white off in the center. Now, I'm not sure why black made this exchange first, specifically. It does make black an eye, but this is a move you only want to play when you have to, because later white can Hane here, which is very, very painful. Notice, without that move, black can cut here. So again, these are the things you need to think about. Black, I'm sure, wasn't even thinking that, oh, when I go here, I lower their liberties on these 2 stones. And I know I said these 2 stones. Specifically, it is the L5 stone, but I say these 2 because when white Hanes, they connect, right? So, yeah, so I'm not sure why black made that exchange first. So white goes here, so obviously black cuts. And then white goes here. Yeah, I just don't know what white's thinking of doing with these 2 stones. When your opponent has thickness, you have to play differently. And it looks like white is not assuming everything works, but like playing as if they have equal stones in the area, when obviously black has so much more strength than white. So now after this Atarian connect, like black can cut these 2 stones off, black can cut these off, and it's just not good for white. White goes there. Black plays here. And again, this is white's chance to just play here. Although even that isn't that helpful because you're cut off completely. But white connects here. So again, I don't know what white's thinking of doing with these 4 stones. Black stands up. White plays there. Black makes good shape. Very nice. White jumps. Black covers. This was unnecessary. Black was probably worried about some of this cut, but black can just cut like this. And if white cuts, you can see you Atari this way, and you're okay. If white extends, though, sure, maybe white can capture 1 stone, but that's not valuable, right? Go there. White jumps. Now black cuts. White covers. Even connects, but it's just... Yeah, I don't know what... The last, like, the 20-ish moves, I just do not understand white. White was playing so well in the opening, and then everything just fell apart. I'm not sure what. Yeah, black covers. Because, again, white could have cut their losses and gone here. Obviously, with these stones captured and the left side stones captured, this would still be a loss, but this is kind of like assuming black's going to answer this. But black answers smartly and goes here. So white covers. Black just cuts. White covers. Black captures. Then white plays here. Again, this hurts the corner. White goes there. Black covers. White hanes. Black blocks, or it prevents the connection, turns. And then white goes here. And then black does something very strange. As black goes here, which, yes, that does threaten to cut off the center, but you can just play here and capture the whole thing, right? So I'm not sure why black didn't do that. Like, black played here to prevent white from connecting. So why not continue to prevent white from connecting? And the key of why you don't want to Atari is because there's not an I at A13 yet. So if white makes the I here, then you poke here, or even maybe poke here once to make sure, and then you can play here. The entire white group is dead. If white makes the I, obviously if white makes the I here, then you can poke out the I. So I don't understand black just letting white connect. It's very strange. Then white goes there, yep. Black goes in. And then black covers. So black doesn't even capture the stones that he threatened to capture. So yeah, I'm not sure why black did that, but it is Gote for now, so this move is quite big. But then yeah, white goes here. So again, I always tell my students, if you don't see a way for something to work, don't play it hoping your opponent won't see it. So yeah, when black descends here, one, this just hurts the corner a lot. Like a lot. And two, again, just nothing really will work here. Black covers. White cuts. And yeah, all black needs to do is just Hane here, and when white Ataris. Where would you play here as black? Well, I would Atari or connect. Because this is a cutting stone at P18, so this stone at O17 is going to be problematic for white. If white, obviously white can't go this way because this becomes an Atari and you get captured. You can't Atari this way because there's no way to capture the stones there. The only way to really make something happen is to go here. But whether black does it this way and just Atari like this. Again, this is Sente. White needs to add a move to live. Otherwise, black can play M17. So let's say even white can live. Well, then I get my follow-up in the lower right. And huge win for black. Another way that could work for black, and probably does work, is you can play here. And this is threatening to capture white. So if white goes here, though, then you can... maybe this doesn't work, actually. Yeah. I was saying you could maybe play this one, but white can Atari here. So yeah, maybe this doesn't work. Although it might work because this is it's a dead shape like this. So there's potential maybe, but yeah, so yeah, I actually think you can maybe kill this. But regardless, you need to connect at Q18. What black does is go here. So again, I'm so confused by this move. White captures, of course, and then black goes here. Again, very strange. All white needs to do is connect because this is threatening to connect at R16. So black takes, then I can capture here and I'm alive. But white Ataris, forcing black to take, and then white had to fix anyways. So that's why white should just go here. Yeah, that's why white should just go here. Go there, yep. And then cover. And so black covers, of course. And then white blocks. Yes, and all black needs to do is just push and Atari. It's your Sente, and it prevents any endgame stuff. But black does play some other big moves. Black goes here. Here, this is all Sente because white needs to live. Yep, so that was big. And then black goes here. Yeah, this is also big. White bumps. Black connects. Then white goes here. Yeah, black can gain a little bit extra by playing this move. Because now white's unable to Atari. Or maybe it's about the same, but yeah. But white does this, which, yeah, it doesn't quite work. Black connects. White pulls back, and this is a very minor thing, but it is important to talk about. So black should fix by going here. Now in the game, black connects, or cuts, I mean. And you might think, well, yeah, that makes sense. Black's capturing. But it means that this move is Sente because white can throw in next. But if you play here, this move is not Sente because now there's no shortage of liberties. So by playing here, it means you leave more Aji open in this area. So for example, if white goes elsewhere, playing a move like this threatens to push and cut. But if you play here, white can play this one in Sente, quote unquote. Again, it might not be Sente. There might be bigger things, but there's a big follow-up at least. And so if black has to play here to fix, then you can see capturing the stone is actually not that big. Whereas you go here, block. Yeah, I don't think black would play here at this point. But using Tawari, we can see that's what black would have to do. White covers. Yes, that's very big. And yeah, this is a mistake too. Black can at least save here. White has to play here, and then black can come under. So yeah. Black just goes there, and white can cut. And then black gives white some more points. That was very generous. And then connects. Yeah, you should just connect as black. You should just connect. Because this is still threatening to capture anyways. And if you go here as white to prevent that, well, now black can connect at M1 or at P6. You go here. Yeah, you just gave white some points. It's like this. It's why I love Tawari. It's like this. At this point, black does this, which we can see is just loses points for black. So right there, Hane. Yep, that is big because it does threaten to not necessarily kill because again, black can connect underneath, but black would lose a few stones otherwise. So it's big. Push. And then black plays there. Yeah, and so this game is just going to black win. But some interesting things happen. Black plays here. Yep, that's the last big area. White throws in. And here's a minor thing. Black should take and force white to Atari. Because it's still Sente, and black captured a stone. And notice white played at C12, right? When you just take like this, white connects, white gets a point here, and you didn't capture a stone. So it's a minor thing, but it's a 2-point swing right there, right? Because basically the end position will look like this. And so if you compare the two, you can see white gets that extra point and you didn't get a capture. So minor thing. And surely the 2 points there won't matter, right? So black goes there. Yeah, white covers. Black cuts. Yeah, so black cutting, unless you can make something happen here, is worse compared to this one. Sorry. It's worse compared to this one. Black would rather play here. Black cuts. Play there. White goes there. Yeah, that's unnecessary. White can just go here if white's worried about life and death. There's no way for black to make that not an eye. But in the game, black pushes and then starts this ko. And so this is a nice idea by black. It's a nice idea by black. But the problem is this black's connection here is dependent on these 2 stones being on the board. So even if white had done this, black can't fill because white could cut next. And now black can't connect under at M1. So it's not really a ko. And this is when, even if black just gives up the ko, black is still winning. But this is when black kind of loses sight of the game or what's happening. So yeah, white cuts and black had to connect. Because black cuts here. And this loses points. But okay. Go there. Atari, sure. And then black descends. Okay, we're losing more points. White Ataris. Black goes here. We're losing even more points because now this stone's in Atari. White just connects and black says, oh, I have to connect, and then white goes there. And again, all black needs to do is just connect here, and black's okay. But black goes here, and plays there, and then plays here. Obviously, white takes. That's huge. Black covers, and we get a ko. Okay, who has more ko threats? White pushes. This is not a ko threat. Remember, when you're fighting a ko, you're not trying to lose nothing. You got to be willing to give something up. So by answering this, all we're saving is 3-ish, 4-ish points compared to white. If white wins this, white takes back upwards of 10, 15 points. More than that. So black should just cover here because, again, even if white could capture the 5 stones here, that's bigger than, or that's smaller than the right side. But white can't even do that. Like if white pushes, you just are connected. Black answers, take, that is Sente. White goes there. White Ataris, again, we're talking about 4 or 5 points here compared to 20 plus points here. But black answers. Black cuts. And so black cuts, so now black's losing points because now this forces white to take. White Ataris. And then black goes here, which is way too small, right? Because white has Miai to live. White can make an eye at Q19 or L16. So white takes, of course. So white saved the whole right side because black played this ko that wasn't really a ko on the bottom side. All black needed to do was just like not even fight the ko, but just like Atari and then extend here. Notice now there's no chance of white saving the right side. But black got blinded by this ko and didn't realize kind of the adverse effects of fighting this ko. So this made the game very close, basically. Very, very close. Black goes there. And yeah, black should at least follow up the ko threat, right? Because black can Atari, force white to go here, and then Atari again, and capture. If white connects, it'd be another ko like this. So white would probably connect, and then black can capture. And again, that's pretty big. But in the game, black just covers here and goes here, and white saved everything. And it's important to note as well, instead of R19, black could have played moves like H19 as co-threats instead. So black had better co-threats as well. So not only did black answer white's small co-threats, but black played very poor co-threat. Atari. So yeah, now we're in endgame. And again, black should use the Sente endgames while you can. So black should go here and go here while you can. So white Hane, yep. Black could play at E16. And we're just playing endgame. But yeah, now the game is super, super close. So yeah, white got the point there. Yep, just playing endgame. And yeah, now we're even filling dame. We're filling dame. And then right at the end, as we're filling dame, black accidentally fills here. Black was probably scanning the board looking for neutral spaces between black and white stones. But obviously, those white stones are dead. So this just lost a point. So let me ask you. So right after this, both sides pass. What do you think the score is? What do you think the score is? The score is white wins by half a point. So even through all the chaos, black of the right side and the upper right and the left side and everything black did poorly in endgame, black was still winning. But right at the end, black fills their own territory and ends up losing. So I had planned on reviewing this game regardless of how the game went. It just so happened that this game ended up being a half-point game where it literally switched hands on the last move. But again, as I tell all my students, the important thing is not the end score. It's about the content of the game. And the content of this game was all over the place. We had black playing a bit suboptimal opening, whereas white was doing okay in the opening. Then we got to the fighting where black, for the most part, was dominating. And then in endgame, black just threw away points like crazy. And by the end of it, white won by half a point. So hopefully you got something from this game. You learned something. There's a lot to talk about in this game. Even checking my timer, I can tell this review was not a short one. So if you stuck around till the end, I appreciate it. But yeah, as a reminder, if you're looking for a teacher or someone you know is looking for a teacher, or you just want to support me while getting some lessons in the process, please consider me as your Go teacher. And if you want to inquire more, just check the description for ways to contact me. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next video.